Hi guys, welcome to this week's episode of Marketing Home, Marketing You. I'm your host, Barbara Savona of Sprout Marketing, and if you haven't already, please subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you want to see the silly side of Sprout and of myself, follow us on Instagram at Sprout Marketing. So today we're talking about how to craft an opt-in strategy. Now, you might be wondering, what is an opt-in strategy? Or if you know already, you might be thinking, do apartment complexes do that? That's why I'm excited to bring this to you. As always, I want to bring you ideas that will help you up level and get a leg up again on your competition. And since we don't see a lot of apartment communities using an opt-in strategy to create an email nurture, I think this is an incredible opportunity for those of you that are brave enough to undertake it, and it's really not that hard. So, are you guys ready? Let's get started. Okay, so first let's start by talking about what is an opt-in. Now, I guarantee you've opted in for something on a website. An opt-in is a strategy where you give away something small on your site in exchange for a person's contact information, typically their email. Now, if you've been following Sprout Marketing and you've ever visited our website, watchyourbusinesssprout.com, you know that there's always a pop-up that comes up that gives you the opportunity to opt in to our email list, and we give you away a freebie. It might be our creative holiday calendar, or it might be a checklist that we're talking about. In fact, if you've ever listened to an episode like this and looked for a specific episode that we talked about a freebie, you probably put in your email address, and after you did, then you were redirected to get that freebie. So why do we have an opt-in? Well, I don't know if you're like me, but when I was a leasing professional, I used to hate it when people would come in like 6 months in advance to start shopping for an apartment. I was like, oh, I need somebody that's gonna lease this weekend or this month. At the same time, though, we know that finding home is a huge decision. And so there are those people that start their search early. They might not actually walk into your office, but 6 months, 3 months, a month in advance, they might start looking around, and they probably are going to land on your website if you're doing all the other things right. So what happens? Well, a lot of them can land on our website, they get information, and we might get lost in the shuffle. An opt-in is an opportunity for us to gather to really capture their contact information, and then over the next few months, we have the opportunity to nurture that lead if they weren't looking for an apartment right then and there. So as part of your opt-in strategy, you might have a pop-up on a website, and you might give away something that is of value to them. That's the deal with an opt-in, right? People are a little bit more reluctant to just give away their email address nowadays because they're so bombarded with emails. So because of that, you want to make sure that your opt-in is actually desirable. And I'm going to share with you 3 potential opt-ins that I think can really capture the attention of your prospects. But before we dig into that, I want you to also be cautious when you're thinking about an opt-in. Not cautious, but I want you to be strategic. I want you to think about what information are you wanting to gather. So here's the deal. Somebody's browsing your website and a pop-up comes up, and opt-ins can come in many different forms. You can have one that comes up when somebody's trying to exit your site, when they first land, a few seconds after. And when you're thinking about that strategy, I just encourage you to think about what is annoying to you. So like, for example, if I get on a website that I've never been to before and the first thing there is a pop-up, I'm like, hold on a minute. I don't even know that I'm interested or that I trust you enough to give you my email. Like, give me a few seconds. So you might want to do a pop-up that is based on the length of time they've spent on your site, or it might be how far on the page they've scrolled, so you kind of get an idea that says, oh, okay, they've already been on this page for a little while. Or again, it might be when you see that they're about to exit, it can be oh, before you go, why don't you grab this type of a strategy? Now, when you're thinking about who to use as a pop-up provider, so to speak, the options are really endless. So in the past, I've used a pop-up third-party widget that you just added to your website, and I used one called Privy. I really liked it. It was very easy to use, easy to pause, and I could do multiple pop-ups at different places on my site. Now, we use a Squarespace site now, and so they have a feature built in where I can add a pop-up. The plus part is it's so easy, it's integrated into their dashboard, and so I can switch it out super simple. The bad part is I can only have one. And so for us, we've chosen to have a pop-up when somebody lands after they've been on the site for a little bit of time and they've gone so far on the page. There's also different things that you can do with the pop-up. So for example, you can say, don't show this pop-up again for a week or 2 weeks or a month. That way, if somebody's visiting your site regularly, it's not annoying to them. And it's so cool that technology can keep track of that so that you're really just showing your stuff in a way that isn't frustrating to the end user, but that's still helping you reach your end goal. Now, most pop-ups allow you to dictate what information you're going to gather. And I know it's so tempting to want to get everything, like when are you thinking about moving and why are you moving and, you know, all this different stuff. But I'll encourage you to do this. We want to make the barrier to get their email address really, really just easy. We don't want them to think twice about doing it. So you might want to keep the information really simple. For us, we just gather an email. Now for you, because you might want a little more intel, you might want to get a first and last name, an email, you might want to get a phone number, and you might want to ask, when are you looking to move? Now, you could shave that down and you could strictly get an email and when are you looking to move? Or you could, again, if you want to go the strategy of maybe doing a phone call, in addition to that is get an email, a phone number, and maybe just leave it at that. Again, you've got to test and see what works. Now, I don't want you to get hung up on the tech. Whoever hosts your site, whoever you have your website through, can typically walk you through doing a pop-up, and typically you can tell them what you want and they can do it for you. So it doesn't have to be intimidating. But this is going to be a really cool way for us to get information to nurture them. So in future episodes, I'll talk a little bit about email nurture. It is something that we do all the time, and that's how we get the majority of our clientele. They see something that they like, they opt in for a freebie, and then over the course of weeks, months, sometimes even years for us, we nurture them, we send them content. And because of that, eventually they typically become a Sprout member because they get to know us and they like us and they trust us. That's what a nurture is all about. So you can decide how many emails you send. You can decide if you ever send a nurture series or if you're just going to send them their freebie and maybe follow it up with an email for inviting them to come and tour. So really the possibilities are endless. So how do we get them to opt into our email list? That's what I want to talk about next. Three ideas that we've come up with that are really enticing, they're interesting, and they help you build your email nurture list. Okay, so opt-in number 1 is a move-in checklist. We know moving can be stressful. In fact, I read a study once that said that 61% of people put moving as more stressful than divorce or getting a new job. So if you can believe that. So we can make it easier by giving them a move-in checklist. So whether they choose our community or not, this is a checklist that reminds them of things that they need to do when they're moving into a new home. If I was looking to move even 6 months down the line, I would be curious enough to grab that. So today I want to give you a double whammy. First of all, I want you to see visually how an opt-in works. So I want you to go to marketinghomemarketingyou.com. And I'm going to go there real quick. This is episode 55. So when you land there, go to episode 55. There's going to be an opt-in where you will put in your email address to get this freebie. But here's the best part. 1, you're going to see how we use our opt-in strategy. And 2, I'm giving you away the move-in checklist that now can become your opt-in for your prospects. So there's your very first idea. Super simple, but again, it's universal. You already know about your end user that they're going to likely be moving. Most people don't look at apartment sites unless they think about moving in the future. So this is a need that most people will have, so it could have universal appeal. Opt-in number 2 is for a specific person. So you can do this again based on any kind of lifestyle that you see very prevalent at your community. You can even have different ones. This idea is for the fitness lover. You could have a worksheet that is an opt-in that provides them a list of so many apps that do a 7-day fitness trial. So what's nice about this is it's showing that, hey, we're a community where fitness is important and we know that fitness is important to you. Just for coming to our website, if you give us your email address, you can grab this cool worksheet that gives you this great list of all these different apps where you can get a 7-day free trial or a 14-day free trial. It's a small value add, and what's really cool is you're value adding on something that another app, another resource is doing. You're curating that information, you're packaging it, and you're giving it to them. In exchange, you're getting their email. What's nice about this type of an opt-in is it really tells you that fitness is important to this person. So you could create a mailing list and you can tag it and say, these are the people that opted in for our fitness opt-in. And because of that, we know that fitness is important to them. So when you follow up, you can send them information regarding the fitness amenities. Now, if you see, you can tailor and tweak this for anything. So for example, if you're very pet friendly, you could talk about different maybe things for pets. You could do an all-inclusive type of a worksheet all about being pet friendly. What's cool about that, again, now you know what is of interest to them. Nobody's going to opt in for something they're not really interested in. And so again, you can tailor your emails. That's why it's nice to have a small arsenal of opt-ins and test, see which works the best. So like for us, we've tested a ton of different opt-ins, and our calendar, our creative holiday calendar, which you can always get at watchyourbusinesssprout.com, is a fan favorite. So yes, we switch them up sometimes, but we always have that one present on the homepage because we know that people universally really like that creative holiday calendar, and then it ties into what we do. So this is a good part for me to say, don't have an opt-in that doesn't tie back to the lifestyle at your community or doesn't add value, right? Because nobody's going to want to opt in or say they do and it doesn't tie back to your community. There's no correlation in your follow-up. So be really strategic about what kind of resources you're putting together. I think you're going to like tip 3 because it covers kind of the gamut of the type of prospects that we potentially can get with this specific type of an opt-in. The third opt-in I want to share is a resource guide for your neighborhood. So show a little love to your local neighborhood and put together a guide of maybe your top restaurants, small businesses, nearby grocery stores, your banking centers, things like that. So if I'm moving to an area, I want to know what's around me. And yes, I can Google and I can search, but how cool is it is as my interest is there, part of the opt-in strategy is get this comprehensive guide of what to do in our neighborhood. So it could list out our favorite Thai restaurant, our favorite Mexican restaurant, a nearby bakery. What you could customize it to whatever extent. You could even provide the contact information. You could provide how far it is from your community. So I love that idea. If you're very walkable, you could put, for example, our favorite Thai place, and you list it out and then you say 2.5 minutes away walking distance or 1 minute in your car. You know, I'm making these numbers up, but you get it, right? It's very personalized. It's very custom. And it just says a lot about your community. If you're going to that extent to talk about the neighborhood before I'm your resident, it tells me that you care about the neighborhood. You're going to always provide me with good resources. It's a good mental trigger for me to say, man, this is the type of community. They are on top of it. I want to know more about them. And it's a great way to partner with some of the local businesses and help get some extra foot traffic, right? We know that it's kind of a symbiotic relationship. Healthy neighborhoods make for healthy communities. So what I love about this one is this opt-in can be a dual purpose. You could use this in your move-in packets. You can use this in your follow-up. So this opt-in doesn't just have to be for gathering new leads. You can use it again and again, screenshot it, share it on social media. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can use this, and that becomes great for your effort. So I want to show you, this is an example right here. We're going to overlay it right there, and you can see what it would look like to put this together. Now, if you guys have liked these ideas and you're thinking, gosh, I would love to have some of these resources and really customize them with my brand colors, my logos, my things like that, our Sprout membership, that's a great way for you guys to get custom type of resources just like this. So if you want to learn more about our Sprout membership, go to watchyourbusinesssprout.com. Now, I hope you guys attempt this opt-in strategy. Do not get stumped. Use your resources. Reach out to whoever hosts your website, whoever takes care of that tech. That might be your marketing department. Some of you guys work with like Entrada or RealPage or different ones like that. They know what we're talking about. You might even have an opt-in that you don't even know about now. And the second piece to that is don't get stuck on the design. Grab the free one at marketinghomemarketingyou.com, episode 55. Start there. And then if you want something custom, become a Sprout member and you'll have all the resources you ever need. And then for a little bit of help with your email marketing, stay tuned for a future episode where we talk about how to nurture those lists. Okay guys, it's been fun, it's been real. I hope you've gotten great value out of this episode. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Bye.